Greetings, David Avocado Wolf here. We are going to revisit a spot where I had planted two Robinia pseudoacacias with my friend Red Wolf. That was in June, end of May, beginning of June 2019. And here we are. Today's Halloween, actually. These are supposed to represent candy corns, but it's actually amber, but you get the idea. And happy Halloween 2022. And we're going to look here at what happened to those trees. Now, this is a very far north region here. It can get to minus 40 centigrade, which is also, by the way, the same as minus 40 Fahrenheit in this region. And so I've always sought out the toughest trees, toughest plants to grow here, but we're still in a mixed forest. And that means we can still grow apples and pears and plums and walnuts and that kind of stuff and interesting berries, lots of interesting berries. And I thought, let's give it a try for this Robinia pseudoacacia. You remember that video? Remember, I'm a pseudoscientist. And I go by the pseudonym Avocado. You may know me by that as well. And I'm also a pseudo-intellectual, according to Wikipedia. And I warned you way back then about Big Pharma and what they were up to. Boy, was I right about that. What do you know? A pseudo-intellectual going by a pseudonym, doing pseudoscience turned out to be actually correct. Oh, geez. What to do? Now, I'm going to show you. We planted these guys. And I'm going to show you what happened to them. So let's start with this one on this side. You can see that we actually got a gate in there now. That used to be a more tattered, homemade kind of gate. Now we got the kind of something official. But this is it right here. This is the tree, Robinia pseudoacacia. Look at the size of that. It's got some significant girth, as they say. And look how big it's gotten. It's taller than me now. So I'm 6 feet tall. So that's probably 8 feet tall, at least. That's pretty exciting. And you can see it's also developed the really intense thorns. Keep the deer off of it. So those are the thorns. But as this thing will develop, eventually its bark will not have any thorns. Only the new growth has the thorns. So it develops a really beautiful wood. It's most fabled for its use as a wood, as a post, for example. It'll last 40 years in the ground without any treatment. And this wood is also called black locust. You may know it as black locust. So look at this one. This one's really doing well. Look at that guy right there. So it worked. So our charcoal, you saw me plant it with charcoal. You saw this calcium that we used in the soil. And in this really a tough spot, this spot is in the yard. It's a little bit barren. It gets blasted by the north winds here. And I mean blasted. Like something fierce. You could see, look, if you look out there, you can see there's nothing between us and that valley down there. And the winds just hit us full tilt. But out here, you can see on this Robinia pseudoacacia, there's those really full-on thorns, and that keeps the deer from mowing it down. Now, these aren't the only two that I've planted on this property. I've planted many more, and on two of them this year, we actually got flowers, and we got beans. Now, it's a pseudoacacia, which means it's a legume, and therefore it will produce legumes. So it produced bean pods, and an edible, by the way, this Robinia pseudoacacia produces an edible flower. It tastes like vanilla. So it's the vanilla of the north. They consider it the vanilla of the north. But the beans were significant. We got probably 50 or 60 seeds. Can you believe that? Just on a 3-year-old tree. And that's how incredibly rapacious these guys are. They go and they'll make it. They're going to survive. They kind of remind me a lot of the Osage orange, Maclura pomifera, in the sense that they're invasive in the territory where they're from. And they've been mowed down in the territory that they're from because they're so useful. And the wood is so incredibly rich. It makes furniture wood. That's what it's most well known for, actually. When you get to places in North Carolina where it's from, this Robinia pseudoacacia, it's mostly used as furniture wood. Phenomenal wood, phenomenal plant, and definitely something that pseudoscientists like myself would be using. At this point, I think you've probably figured out that if you go by a pseudonym and you're a pseudoscientist, you're a pseudo-intellectual, and you're doing pseudo-intellectual pursuits such as I'm doing here with farming, you're probably going to be better off than if you went for the scientism. And so now we know, don't we? The scientism turned out to be the bane of our existence. They tried to inject us. They did everything they could to get that crap in. Wow. It's been a fight, been an interesting one. And maintain your integrity. And the best way to do that is get farming. Get farming, get back on the earth. Get your feet on the soil, get back to barefoot, and get back to the best day ever. And by the way, if you fall for it, if you fall for their pseudo-intellectual BS, which they, again, it's exactly the opposite. They accuse you of what they're actually doing, right? So if they accuse you of being a pseudoscientist, must mean you're a scientist. It must mean they're doing pseudoscience. If they accuse you of being a pseudo-intellectual, it must mean that they're pseudo-intellectuals and you're doing actually real intellectual work, something like that. What do you know? One of the best ways to do that is to drop all pretenses and get back on the earth. I'm David Avocado Wolf. Have the best day ever.